Okay, so this is Taurus's reading. So you'll be able to tell whose reading it is right here. And this deck right here will tell you what house we are to distinguish your person. So the first house is Aries. Second house, that's your house, Taurus. Third house is Gemini. Fourth house, Cancer. Fifth house, Leo. Sixth house, Virgo. Seventh house, Libra. Eighth house, Scorpio. Ninth house, Sagittarius. 10th, Capricorn. 11, Aquarius. And 12 is Pisces. So we'll go through the 12 houses to get a reading for how your person will fight for your love. Alright, and so this is a general reading. It's not intended to resonate with everyone. Alright, so if it doesn't fit, don't force it. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible. Of course, hitting the like button and commenting helps put your energy in the channel so that the readings will resonate with you more. If this reading doesn't resonate, I'll be back to do another one, for example. And I look for highlighted areas of concern, so there could be moments of advice. The advice is likely my personal advice, which I try not to do too often, but sometimes it's so pronounced. That could happen. And also, these readings are not intended to have mutual energy. Your person, their energy is what we're looking at, how they are influenced by the realization that they need to fight for your love. So let's get into it and see how things go. We're looking at Taurus with Aries. Taurus and Aries. Taurus and Aries. Taurus and Aries. Okay. All right. So off the bat, they will fight for your love because they have intentions why they're there in the relationship in the first place. They've already fallen for you at this point. So the part of the disclaimer that this isn't intended to resonate with everyone, this particular connection, your Aries has already, they already have fallen for you. So yes, they will fight for you. However, them fighting for you, it just intrinsically diminishes the value of the connection. Them feeling like they have to fight for your love, they take that personal, and it starts to diminish the value that they had, because they feel like they're the prize and you should be fighting for them. But it just feels like it's in their natural nature to put up a fight. Definitely make sure that their presence is felt and that they are one for the books. You're not going to forget them. But yeah, it looks like if they stayed in the connection feeling like they need to fight for your love, it would begin to negatively impact them emotionally and mentally, which is something that they don't really stand for. Typically, they're not trying to stay in a connection that impacts their self-value, the value that they have for themselves. They're typically not ones that want to get knocked off of their square and lose themselves in a connection. That's not really their vibe. That's not how they work. However, it does look like this is a connection that could become destabilizing. So that's one of those highlighted areas of concern where there would be advice for the Aries, because this looks like in this particular connection, them feeling like they need to fight for your love would be introduced quickly into your connection, like right off of the bat. So, the highlighted area of concern would be for Aries, that this looks like if you stayed in this type of connection, it could cause some long-term mental and emotional damage, and could also begin to impact you financially. So that would be a red flag. So anyhow, intrinsically off the bat, just their nature is to disconnect. They'll begin to look around at other options, have one foot in and one foot out of the connection. And also the highlighted area of concern for Taurus is that if this continues to be a toxic relationship, that also if the Aries is for whatever reason locked in, like for an example, if there was something that happened unforeseen to lock you guys in at the very beginning, like an unexpected new arrival, you know, of conception happened right away, or for whatever reason where they're locked in, the highlighted area of concern for you too is if they don't take the high road and just leave, that they could definitely bring carnage and wreckage. You guys could wreck each other long term. So will they fight for your love? The answer is yes. But their intentions will be trying to detach and get out of the connection, because it's a red flag that they'll notice right away, and they usually don't want to put themselves in that position. So it looks like the Aries that you're talking to, if this reading resonates, is a more mature, refined Aries. They know themselves pretty well. It looks like they may have found themselves in a similar situation, so they'll be moving based on experience. Now we'll move to look at Taurus with other Taurus connection. So again, this reading is designed to be your reading to the one watching this video, and we're looking at your person of interests, how they would respond to fighting for your love. Alright, so here we go for Taurus with other Tauruses. Taurus and other Tauruses. Alright, so Taurus with other Taurus. Now this Taurus may have some cusp energy, meaning they could be Taurus Aries cusp, or they could be a Taurus Gemini cusp. What this says though is that this particular connection looks like it's fairly new as well. If you guys have been with each other for a while, then it looks like there is some significant change in your connection. Okay, so that would be one of the characteristics to tell if this is your reading or not. Like I said, this one would be new, or there was some significant change, like an environmental change, or something in your connection is new. Okay. And so another feature of this particular connection is that your person they have like a third party situation. It also looks like you could have a third party situation. You both might have a third party situation. There's some sort of obstructive interference that dynamic is in your connection. So that's another feature to tell if this is yours. Okay, and so anyways, at the inclination that they need to fight for your love, they're beginning to check out, because they feel like either you have options, they have options. There's a high likelihood that this was not a serious connection to begin with, or through the course of time it has diminished and they don't see it the same as they used to. They will, if they don't bail out right away, and their energy lingers in this connection, which this one, there's a high likelihood that their energy lingers even if they've started to check out and be less present in the connection. But they're assessing, so they'll take some time to assess if this is a connection that is worth fighting for. All right, but in this particular connection, it says that there's a high likelihood that they determine it is not worth fighting for, and they begin to preserve self-preservation. They go to self-preservation, They begin to move their energy out. If you guys are living together, they have your stuff at their house, and you have their stuff at yours. They'll start moving their stuff out, for an example. They might exploit the connection for money. But anyhow, they'll start to leave out of the connection. That's what this one is saying. So, will they fight for your love? How will they fight for your love? There's a high likelihood that they won't. That they're just going to check out. We're going to look at Gemini. Okay, so Taurus with Gemini. Taurus with Gemini. Okay, so this connection here says they are, for this particular reading, they have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So they'll just start to disconnect. They'll start moving their energy around. And this one here also says no, they won't fight for it. They'll just leave. They'll just leave. It looks like there's a moment of pause where they will reflect and consider and ask themselves if this is a connection that they would fight for. But there's a high likelihood that says they'll just begin to leave without even making a scene about it. Moving to look at Taurus and Cancer connections. Let's see how the Cancerian would respond to fighting for your love. Alright, so this is Taurus's reading with Cancer connections. So let's see how the Cancerian will respond to fighting for Taurus's love, Cancer and Taurus. The Cancerian and Taurus connections. The Cancerian and the Taurus. Okay, so yes, they will fight for your love is what this one says. Okay. They will definitely fight for your love. This is a hard yes. Okay. So at first, they will be very direct, okay, in their attempt to fight for your love. They're going to be very obvious. It's going to be obvious. They will respond. As time persists, if they still feel like they have to fight for your love, like the first time wasn't enough, they begin to withdraw and retreat, but they do so with the intention to come back. They will come back, and they feel like when they come back, they'll be better and stronger, even more capable to fight for their love. So while they're away, they're healing. While they're away, they're being introspective, and they're wondering how they can win your love. How can they nurture the connection? How can they better care for you? And also, they realize in their retreat, when they withdraw, that they have to be okay. So they will be taking time for themselves to heal themselves. Okay, and so this particular Cancer seems to be one that's an introvert anyways. So they'll withdraw and then they'll come back. Okay, and they'll attempt to fight for your love. So it says yes, they will. Alright, there's also a storyline here saying yes, they will fight for your love. If they're not effective the first time, they withdraw their energy. And when they come back, they will try to work it out with you. But they've also prepared themselves for being unsuccessful to salvage the connection. And they move into a mode of more bachelorette energy, prepared to move on and find another love. Okay, so that's what I have for Taurus and Cancerian connections. Next, we're going to we will look at Taurus and Leo connections. Taurus and Leo connections. Okay, so for this connection, at the point of them needing to fight for your love, this particular connection is aroused. It's the spice in the connection. Yes, they will fight for your love. Definitely. And so here, because initially it looks like they weren't really taking the connection that serious. Alright, they didn't think that you were taking them that serious, or they just, there's a lot of different dynamics and storylines that are here as far as what's new about your connection. They're not that invested. But when they realize that they need to fight for your love, they become more heightened, more interested. You have their attention. Yes, they will fight for your love, and there's a likelihood it could become quite toxic. And it looks like your chemistry, the chemistry between the two of you is very dynamic. So this is one that could become very passionate and intoxicating, where both of you cannot get enough of each other, learning different sides of each other and becoming quite aroused by the nature of each other, the chemistry. So it looks like, yes, they will fight for your love. They will find it really interesting, and it would be the takeoff. You guys would find that you're quite compatible is what it looks like. Now we'll look at Taurus and Virgo connections. All right, for Taurus and Virgo. Taurus and Virgo. Taurus, Virgo. Taurus, Virgo. Taurus, Virgo. Taurus and Virgo. Taurus, Virgo. Taurus, Taurus and Virgo. Alright, so for the Taurus and Virgo connections, first of all, it says this particular connection looks like you have history. It looks like you've gone there, you've done that with one another before, and it looks like it would take a while for your person to take you serious. First of all, it's going to take a while for them to respond, but eventually you will definitely get their attention. So there's going to be kind of like a disbelief, like, what? You really want me to fight for your love? Like, they're going to second guess it at first. But, and that's due to you guys having some history together. There's a high likelihood that this is a connection that you have already been on and off with before. So it looks like it would take them a while to spark the realization and to catalyze them to fight for your love. It does look like through the course of it, though, your Virgo will get overwhelmed. They'll feel like your energy is overbearing, is what it looks like. And they begin to question why they're in this connection, question if they should stay in the connection, question if they should continue to fight for it. Initially, though, they are headstrong to fight for it, to try to win you over, but it looks like there's higher likelihood of them feeling like you're just not that into them, and that there's not a point to fight for it. Now we'll look at the connection with Taurus and Libra. Okay, Taurus and Libra. Taurus and Libra. Taurus and Libra. So the answer is yes. Right off the rip, right off the start, they will fight for your love. The thing about it in this connection here is, Taurus, you might not even be expecting them to fight for their love. For your love, you might not even be expecting them to fight for your love. But whatever obstacle presented in your connection, it provoked them to fight for your love. So it looks like it would take you by surprise. It looks like you might almost expect them to just leave or even abandon you in the connection. But no, it says that they will fight for your love. They will definitely communicate with you. If you're at a distance, they'll try to come closer to you. Yeah. And let me clarify that. 7 of Swords. See, there's the 10 of Pentacles. Alright, so the thing about it though is it depends on your response to their efforts to try to fight for your love. Okay, because it looks like they could begin to take it personal. Alright, depending on your response. Like if you reject their attempts to try to reconcile, it looks like they could take that personal, and then they'll be trying to undermine you and exploit the situation. So the highlighted area of concern for this one is, if you really want this person to be done and over with, then you should stick to your first mind. You should stand your ground and put your foot down, because they're going to begin to take your rejections personally, and it looks like there's a high likelihood that they will exploit the situation, escalate. Okay, that's what I'm looking at for Taurus and Libra. Now we'll look at Taurus and Scorpio. Okay, so this one here says no. They'll check out of the connection. They'll move their energy. They will diminish the value of the connection. And they might give you a taste of your own medicine. They'll look at it in that context. Like, you just need to feel how you're making them feel. But they've already checked out. So, if this is a connection that Taurus, if you're thinking about ending this connection, it looks like you should put your foot down and mean it, because if this person gets to linger in your energy, they could become toxic and vindictive. Looking at Taurus and Sagittarius connections. Taurus, Sagittarius. Okay. So for this connection, it looks like it would be familiar, like a karmic pattern, something that they've experienced before. Alright, so there's a high likelihood that they won't fight for this connection. Something about it will be very familiar. And it looks like they'll only fight for the connection if provoked. But it doesn't look like they're fighting to stay, just to prove a point. Now looking at Taurus and Capricorn. So again, this is a short-term energy reading, and it's not intended to resonate with everyone. So let's take a look at Taurus here and Capricorn to see if this resonates. Let's see. Like for an example, this connection looks like one that's been out of contact for a while. Will they fight for the connection? It looks like you've been out of contact for a while. And the answer is yes. Yes. Yes, they'll fight for it. So after spending some time away, this looks like they would come back. Alright, they will come back for a second chance. But the issue is that it looks like when they do come back, there's something off about them. Like they're not able to process. It's like there will be communication issues, misunderstanding issues. They could also be lies or distrust here, because it reminds me that there's a current retrograde going on right now too. A Mercury retrograde where communication in general is difficult. So this here looks like it would be a difficult time communicating, but they will try to come back. It looks like when they do try to come back, yes, there will be difficulty expressing themselves and articulating what they mean. So there's a high likelihood of misunderstanding happening, and that will be frustrating to your person. Overall, I'm looking at yes, your person will come back. They will fight for your connection. The challenge is understanding each other and avoiding misunderstandings, and also being perceived as someone who's lying. That could be an issue too, through misunderstanding. So it looks like there's a high likelihood of that dynamic playing out in this particular connection, of there being misunderstanding and also feeling like somebody is lying, which will be very, like I said, devastating. And it might be, something that brings them to their breaking point, wanting to break up. And it looked like it would be due to bad timing. Now moving to look at Taurus with Aquarius. Taurus with Aquarius. Alright. So again, this is another reading that's almost similar to the Capricorn one, as far as the timing being off, the retrograde influencing this one, where communication stands a high likelihood of being miscommunicated, misunderstood, and even perceived as somebody's lying. Alright, there might be lies, or just might give that feeling that somebody's lying, not being straightforward. And there is love here, so the answer is yes, your person will like to fight for you, but knowing how to fight for you, they might not know exactly how to go about it. This also looks like energy that's, like I said, the timing is a bit off, but I don't see your person bailing out, because they're mostly standing in the energy of loving you, caring for you, and not even considering the option of leaving you. but they might just go silent, just knowing that the communication and something in regard to the timing is off. Now to look at Taurus with Pisces. Taurus with Pisces. Taurus with Pisces. Will they fight for this love? The answer is yes. First of all, it's going to be emotionally damaging for them. Emotionally and mentally. But yes, because this is a connection that they feel like they don't even want to think about leaving it until they do fight for it. This is a connection that they see value in even before you guys got involved with each other. This is the type of connection that they loved you at first sight type of a dynamic, that they seen value in you, you know, even before you knew that they did. This is that type of connection. So yes, they will fight for it, and they're fighting for it, planning to win. They want to win you over. It looks like they could have kind of feel a little bit embarrassed by the way they initially responded, because it did emotionally and mentally impact them. So they could have had an outburst, an embarrassing outburst. So they may have withdrawn, and they are expecting you to come back to them. They're hoping that you will come back to them, kind of give them a chase. But if you don't, it looks like they're minded to come back to you and to express to you their love. All right, and it looks like if you still don't understand them, if you still don't receive them, that there's a likelihood that they will disconnect again. But they have a lot of love for you, so they're definitely going to put an effort to keep you. They love you very much, and they see you as their person, their partner. That's what's being expressed right now. And thank you so much for your support on the video and on the channel. Signing off for now. Until next time, peace.